let me help you briefly. I think you are on the right path. African youth has all the necessary skills, abilities, talents, capabilities, but supportive systems are always a challenge. And I want to tie into the questions that my brother asked. Why is it that our youth are migrating to other parts of the world to search for greener pastures that do not even exist? And some die on the Mediterranean Sea, as has been alluded to some of the earlier speakers. The issue of brain drain could be handled in two ways, where leaders of Africa can be deliberate, like people like Cuba. They train doctors and then they send them to other parts of the world in a more proper manner, not on a disjointed approach, but in a very deliberate approach. Here is the also gain some income to be able to live. So as part of our discussion, we even made a proposal that going forward, governments of Africa must set aside some incentive package or stipend for graduates who have graduated school for a certain period of time who are not getting job for maybe a year or 2 or 3, that they can even live on it as startup capital to start their own businesses. Because people go to school, they are made to pay loans after schools in other jurisdictions. And we know some of these loans that are given to students comes in the form of compound interest. How are they going to survive? Starting life with debts, it will break you up. So if governments are made to sign some contract that will give some earlier incentives or stipend to graduate from school, they will be compelled to make sure that graduates who have graduated from school get immediate jobs to be able to use their skills, their talent to support the growth of economy, because we have a lot of disuse. If students learn skills or talent in school and they don't practice it for over time, those skills become redundant. So government must stick to that plan. So what we are calling on government of Africa is that let us begin to support our youth. They have needed skills just as what other counterparts have. When we compete them on their world stage, we perform exceedingly. Why is it that we are leaving our youth to go to places that there are not even jobs, and we have all these natural resources that we can add value to it that will be able to help our citizens? Thank you very much.
Oh, I was confusing between skills and knowledge. You know, like the CBC children, like I don't remember when I was in primary, I was not going to the cyber maybe to use the computer, but right now the CBC, at evening when you go to a cyber, you'll find kids, a lot of kids there. So I think maybe I was confusing between skills and knowledge.
Even knowledge and skills go together. Yeah. We just draw that word and say,
sorry, don't ambush her. Don't ambush here, please. Thank you.
But CBC is better.
Take us slowly, please. Take us slowly. Just before we take your question.
Personal.
Just to add on to what Koja just said on CBC, you see, the problem with Kenya itself is that we don't learn. That is one thing, and we're very ignorant. As much as we have this, competency-based curriculum coming up, we still have the same teachers who are teaching the memory-based curriculum, the same teachers who are still teaching the CBC. You see, up to this point, in this date of time, you find a student early in the morning at 5. This is a student in grade 3, in a bus, waiting for the bus to take him to school. The bag is so heavy, it's almost falling down, carrying about 20 to 30 books in the backpack. For what reason? You understand? So we advocate for, Africans, not just Kenya, but Africans to just look for one pilot base so that we can come up with a system, foster a system to create a curriculum for Africa, for education. Because we're over-relying on the West for everything, be it style, be it education, be it sports, be it products, everything is the West. And people are tired of that. So Africa just needs to sit down, make a pilot base in Kenya where we can just develop a curriculum that fits Africans. So at the end of the day, we can compare it to the Western curriculum. Is it, in 1, 2, 3, or 4 years, is it beneficial? Is it helping Africans? So I think that is what we need as Africa.
Thank you.
And maybe before we proceed, there's a gentleman at the back who asked a question on Africa is endowed with minerals, how to stop these minerals from being exported back to the Europe nations. So, in my opinion, will be one objective that we've been always talking about, sir, that Kenya, or rather African nations, need to come up with a curriculum suited for Africa. We need to have subjects like agriculture compulsory, mining compulsory, subjects like gender should be compulsory in Africa, so that this knowledge on mining, the type of equipment that is needed, is equipped with young learners from as early as 9 years old. That will actually be a stepping stone to solving this problem. We also need to strengthen the framework, the export policies that are there, or if we're having a foreign company from Germany coming to take our materials, we should know that the company, first of all, should employ something called, or a certain percentage. I saw a research on Aliko Dangote on his group of companies. Those who are from Nigeria can attest to this, that for you to work in those Aliko Dangote companies, you have to employ, I think, 70% of Nigerians. And what Aliko Dangote has done is that those people who are actually in the industry or who are employed, they learn what the Europeans are doing. So you find a company, it has Europeans who are mining the things in the minerals in Nigeria, but at the same workplace, there are the Nigerians. So in 5 years, these guys who are there, they're learning through apprenticeship. Over time, these guys will be exported out, and Nigeria will be mining their own minerals. So that's something that we can implement in most African nations. When they come to mine, at least a certain percentage must be of the people of that country. And the last one is regional cooperation. You know, like Kenya, we are striving to have the East Africa community. Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi. The more we become one, the more we become very solid. And that's something that the South is also doing, South Africa, Botswana, Namibia. And if we do that in all aspects of Africa, Africa can actually slowly by slowly start becoming one and actually have a stronghold in preventing our raw materials from going to other foreign nations. So that was my submission.
Quick one. We want to make a quick point that whatever ideas that we are generating here, they are not final. Your input matters, and after that, we consolidate it as a resolution on the basis of knowledge, based culture, and whatever the pointers that we have already alluded to. But quick one, in our discussion, we indicated that it's high time Africa look at project-based learning, where students do a lot of research. If you go to advanced learning areas, students are made to do a lot of projects, a lot of research. That is why we even have knowledge. Yet when it comes to coming out with some design model like this software for AI and all this, and you realize that most of them are designed by the Western counterparts. But African brains can do it and do it more, because we have scientists that can even do a lot of things. When you look at science inventors, most of them are coming from Africa. If you do the research, you realize that most of the inventions that we have had in the world, our ancient forebears have been proponents in these areas. Why is it that we are learning a lot of things, mathematics, science, engineering, yet we are not able to come out with some machines that can drive our economy? Like the president said, most of African countries are choked by debts, and we need investment, we need trade. And how can we drive industry? It can only be driven by having industries set by African model, because you are competing with foreign interests, and he wants you to bring your raw materials to his place, then he will add value to it, bring it back to you, and at the end of the day, you get interest. And you want the same person to come and help you to build industry that can refine your list. It can never be done. Even if it will be done in a certain way. So we must know their interest. So it's the call to our students is that once we learn those skills, let us begin to implement them. That is why we are calling for TVET education. technical vocational education skills is something that we should not denigrate them, because either do people look at people in the liberal sciences or humanities, oh, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm all these things. They are all good, but these skills are something that going forward, Africa, we need them. And that will change our narrative. That will bring economic drive to our people. And we must call our government that we need this kind of skills. Our students should learn mathematics, science, because I've been a mathematics teacher, and I realized that even our girls were performing very highly in those domains. We should not scare them. We should encourage them. Even if they fail, some of the problem come from the teachers. We scared our students. Oh, it is a very difficult area. This is an abstract area,
okay,
but it's something that we can do and do it better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A round of applause. You are answering the first question or the first set of questions? So you've finished answering the questions. Is there only the burning question? Burning question. And if I give you the mic and the question is not burning, yeah, the question must be burning. If it's not burning, and it must be burning in 30 seconds.
I haven't got to hear how you guys have explained how do we make education affordable in Africa, because it's quite expensive and that's a challenge.
A burning answer, 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you. My name is Lali Felipe Kibika, the president of Kibab University. So I think that Africa must be for Africanism. Now, for us to make education to be affordable for the people in Africa, I think that we must cultivate the culture of public participation, because if we're the people who are going to pass the policy in that particular sector of education, then we're going to own it. As also I finalize on the issue of CBC and the new funding model amongst the schools. I think we met some days back and discussed about the new funding model and also the system in higher learning. So as the student leaders, I think we never accepted the new funding model and also the new education system. So the public participation is key factor in each and every sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's have Wesley.
Sorry,
No, Chairman, no. There is no quick one you're having. Let me give you a member. No. Now you are bullying us. I want to give you a member here to also add on.
Thank you. My name is Wesley Jeff, the National Youth Representative for the Service Party and a lawyer as well. So on your question, Alex, the first thing you need to understand is whose responsibility is it to standardize educational cost. That is per government, per locality, which means our Kenyan government or a Zambian government or whatever. But the thing that we can do in terms of input is mitigation of how far those costs go. That is why in our thought process when we talked about how expensive it is, because my perspective is that governments do not take accountability when it comes to educational sponsorship, which means the first thing that you experience is that you're given a HELB loan, for example, here in Kenya, and then the government requires you to pay that loan 1 year after you're done with school, regardless of whether you have gainful employment. My proposal to this committee was that the first thing needs to happen is at least have a standard across African countries where the first responsibility of government is to make sure that every student who has access to student loans does not only starts to pay that loan once they have gainful employment. And if you can take it a step further, is that they only start to pay those loans after they get to a certain salary bracket, so that they don't automatically get condemned to below the red line of poverty just by applying for a student loan. So by that, you can mitigate educational costs and also spur employment and employment costs in the future.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause to this group. They are the only ones who filled all the seats. Because education is key. Okay, and they are the only ones also who had two presidents sitting in their panel. The president of Kibabi University and the president of Kabarak University. A round of applause to the two gentlemen. This guy has a presidential walking style. How many of you know where Kibabi University is? How many of you know where Kibabi University is? You know, right? Now, I want to make one request. Ladies and gentlemen, the Right Honorable former Prime Minister Raila Odinga is with us, and therefore, I want us to get a little bit more organized before I hand over this to the next program. So I just want to request that you fill all the seats in front of you so that whoever comes in can be able to sit behind you. Kindly, let us just fill all the seats in front of us so that we are better organized. Let's do that quickly. Let's do that quickly. Let us do that quickly. Let us kindly move. Just ensure the seats, kindly the gentlemen at the back in sportswear, kindly just move to the front. Move to the front so that we are better organized on this row. Also move to the front. Also move to the front so that we are better organized before we are able to start off the next session. And I can see our elder brother, Balozi Big Ted, with us in the building behind there. You guys have seen Big Ted there. Yeah, he'll be with us and he'll be taking us through the award ceremony. So let us just move. It is important that we do that so that we are better organized. So let me not belabor the point. Gentlemen, stand from wherever you are and move to the front. It is easier that way. Okay, guys on this row, could we just kindly cooperate with me and just move to the front seats? It is easier that way. This is the Kenya School of Government and all of you are leadership enthusiasts or students. So let us not be able to have a wide, like for example, you guys seated there, you guys, it is basically unreasonable for you to be there and I'm saying you come to the front. Let's do that quickly so that we'll save on time. Yeah, like those guys at the back, kindly just move to the front. It's easier that way. Yeah. Let's not belabor the point. I literally, yeah. Billy, yeah, just help me. Let everybody just move to the front. We don't need to do this several times. Come all the way to the front so that all these seats are filled. Billy, help me ensure all of us. Okay? These guys this side. Ladies, why should we have a scattered seats here and you're insisting on being at the back? Just sit to the front. Together with the other friends of ours there. Kindly, let's just move to the front and make it easy for everybody.
1, 2. Chi. Chi. 1, 2. Chi. 1, 2. Cheki. Mwambie mpunguze kidogo. Chi. 1, 2.
Drop down the mic kidogo ya hii.
Chi. 1, 2. Chi. 1, 2. 1, 2. Chi. 1, 2. Hebu seti. Chi. 1, 2. 1, 2. Chi. 1, 2. Tune it. Chi. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Mwambie kidogo. Where's G-code? 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Chi. 1, 2.
I know my baby will be by me.
Thank you very much.
We
are just doing the final. Just a quick brief. We will be having his address here together with the presentation of the awards, because this convention is scheduled to end today with presentation of awards to notable young leaders across Africa. So that presentation will be happening here. We earlier, those of you who have the program, we had earlier designed that it be a dinner, but because of logistical issues and some program rearrangement, we have decided that we'll make the address here and also make the award ceremony here, and then together with Baba, we will proceed to the dinner. I hope now that works. That's perfect. I'm being reminded, definitely, we will have a photo session just after with Baba before we address the theme of food security. So before we address the theme of food security, we will be able to have that photo session. It will be my request that during his presentation, if we can we be a bit silent? Collins, together with the climate people. It is my request that during Baba's presentation, let's kindly not have walkouts and walk-ins. Let us not have walk-ins and walkouts. So we remain seated and give him his respect until he's able to finish his presentation. And when we behave well, I assure you we'll have very many photos. Very many photos with Baba. Yeah? At people who clapped during when I said dinner were from Kibabi University. Somebody this side is saying so. I'm also wondering. I'm wondering. These guys are insisting that the theme of climate change and food security would have addressed it from Kibabi University. So for those of you who might have joined us together with the entourage of Raila Odinga and you might not be aware of what has been happening here, I'll give you a quick run through. This has been the Pan-African Youth Convention. We've been able to do this for 3 days. And these delegates here have been able to canvass different thematic areas that affect young people. And we have our rapporteurs who have already reported for us to be able to unveil a report and be able to send our recommendations as young people seated at Kenya School of Government to the African Union. Some of the delegates will be chosen from among the ones who are here to present what we have discussed here to the African Union offices in Addis Ababa. We are hopeful that by the time we do that, maybe the chair of the African Union Commission will be none other than So we are hopeful. So we are just trying to ensure that as young people we are taking center stage and ensuring that we are leading the way in these conversations. Yesterday we had His Excellency Olusegun Obasanjo and did a tremendous job here speaking to us, and later of course he honored invitation by one of the media houses to advance the conversation. Otherwise, meanwhile, I am just advising people that wherever you are, put on your suit, because you might be appointed anytime. I request, ladies and gentlemen, that when His Excellency walks in, we will be upstanding to just be able to welcome him. What's up? The DJ is on payroll. DJ, are you sure? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let us be upstanding as we welcome DJ. Ladies and gentlemen, let's be upstanding. Thank you very much. We shall be welcoming. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause as we welcome the Right Honorable Prime Minister. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Right Honorable, you can be able to see the excitement of the young people at your side. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. We are very, very excited to have you. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall remain standing for the national anthem. We shall remain standing for the national anthem, the East African anthem. Then we shall be going to stand.
Ulilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Thank you very much. We can have our seats. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, for being with us here. This is the Pan-African Youth Convention, and it has comprised young people from across the African continent as they are seated here today, and we have been here for 3 days to canvass the Pan-African agenda. Just yesterday, we had Honorable Olusegun Obasanjo, who was here with us and who is your great friend, and we had great conversations here with him. We learned that in Nigeria they call him Baba, and we informed him that in Kenya we have Baba. So we had amazing conversations with His Excellency. We also were able to have day one opening by, of course, the ILO Resident Director for Kenya, together with Honorable Caleb Amisi, who was here with us for the opening ceremony and canvassed the Pan-African agenda quite well. So we have been able to have a robust conversation for 3 days with these young people from across the African continent. They have been patient and they have had a lot of insight. Ladies and gentlemen, you can just clap for yourselves for the amazing job that you've been done. I would also want to finish by saying this is put together by Youth Bridge Kenya, together with the Kenya School of Government, and Professor Nura has been of great help to putting this together, of course, together with our Executive Director, Alex Materi. I would want to just recognize the board and secretariat of Youth Bridge Kenya, and then my job here will be almost done. Wherever they are, you can just stand up for quick recognitions. We have Richard here, who is a member of our board. Ladies and gentlemen, you can just appreciate him. We have Collins, who is our head of logistics. You can appreciate him all the way from Kakamega County. Then we have Kelvin Amira, who is part of our secretariat in the logistic department, and Honorable Sasha Wamai. I don't know where she is. Honorable Sasha Wamai is a director, serves on our board. Of course, we have your friend Frederick Okango, who also serves on the board. You very well know the executive director of the Youth Bridge Kenya, Alex Materi. So we just, that is the team that has been able to help in putting this together. We appreciate you because you have been a leading champion in the youth agenda. And maybe just to mention, in the last election, the only campaign team that had official nominees on the youth campaign was Baba Raila Amolo Odinga's campaign team, and he appointed myself together with Alex Matere and a few others together with Sasha to lead the youth campaign, and just gave us an opportunity for us to learn about this. So you can appreciate him. Asanteni sana, ladies and gentlemen. I want to hand this over to my big brother here, who will take us from here going forward all the way to the awards ceremony. I have been with you. My name is Mundalo Advice. I also serve in the Youth Bridge Kenya as the Director of Corporate Communication and politically at the Jubilee Party. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause as I welcome Balozi Big Ted to take it up from me. Asante.
Thank you very much. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, it is a great joy and privilege to have you here to speak to Africa. Africa, it is time that we tell our story. And it is time that we tell our story the way we want to tell the story. Because for a long time, all our stories have been told by other people. So we must tell our story. We must tell the story of Africa. And one of the ways I would like to encourage us to do it today is using technology. And technology is now being driven by something called AI, artificial intelligence. AI only operates with what you feed it. Africa, can we feed the best of Africa into this technology? Take pictures of your country. Take pictures of you working. Take pictures of beautiful sons and daughters and mothers and fathers of Africa and put those pictures there. That is what AI will use. But, ladies, we also need you in the struggle. We need you.
We need you in technology. We need you in politics and governance. We need you everywhere that you can be. This is my very good friend, Michelle. Michelle, do you want to say hi and tell us something a bit about women in technology in Africa?
Good evening. How are we all doing? My name is Michelle Njeri, and I am TED's co-host. Just a bit about women in tech. Women last year, did you know that women actually were able to get 200 million in seed funding for women-led startups? Did you know that? You didn't know that? And the gap for financing for women-led startups still remains at 2% compared to the male counterparts. So what does this mean? There's a chance for women. You know why? Because when a woman drives society, she's able to invest and see beyond. She's able to create a sustainable future. So I challenge you today to be a woman. If you're a woman and you have a company, invest in it because you're the future. Back to you, Ted.
But tell me a bit about the problem about being ready for the market. What is the issue that you're seeing whenever many companies come for funding? How can women prepare their companies to be ready? Because I'm sure these women here have companies. I'm sure they want funding.
Yes.
But what are we looking for when women come for funding and everything?
Well, to start off, thanks for that, Ted. To start off, I think we're looking for your product market fit. Product market fit means, are you creating a product for the market? Have you done your research? Because a lot of companies come out with products that they think are going to solve a problem when they haven't really done the research. The second thing we're looking for is market validation, which is really tied to the second point. Market validation means understanding your customer. That means if you've built a product, you have to go back to the ground and ask people, because the users first have to give you feedback. Does it need iteration? The third thing we're looking for is your data. Is your company data-driven? AI has been getting a lot of investment, and investment for AI was 41 million last year. Dollars, that's dollars. So you can see how AI is changing, and there's need for data-driven solutions. So that's what we'd be looking for, because yes, there's technology, and emerging tech is actually at the center of this conversation.
All right, all the ladies here would like your contact so that they can reach out to you. How many ladies would like to know more about investment and how this can be able? So they would like to reach out to you. What do they do? Slide into your DM? Ama kusalimia?
Wanisalimia. Lakini, you know, salimiang has gotten a bad phrase nowadays.
Yeah. How can they do it?
They can reach me on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn?
Yes.
All right.
Michelle Njeri.
Okay.
Yes.
So on LinkedIn, this mic will work. All right. So link up with her, and we need to tell our story. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll make this program very, very different from what we envisaged it to be. We'll quickly run into a small section of just quick conversation. I'd like to invite my brother Alex Matere to please come, and he'll make some remarks, and then he will invite just one or two other people who will be able to quickly take us to the next breath. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Alex Matere.
Thank you so much, my big brother, Big Ted. Your Excellency, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, Professor Nura Mohammed, the Director General of Kenya School of Government, the Honorable Caleb Amisi, Member of Parliament for Saboti, the Vice Chair of the Parliamentary Investment Committee, but also the very esteemed Chairperson of the Youth Bridge Kenya Board, the Honorable Sasha Wamai, the Director of the Board of Youth Bridge Kenya, together with the Director Frederick Okango, Mr. Peter Quest, the Youth Coordinator at the Kenya School of Government, the Council Member at the Kenya School of Government, I also recognize your presence, delegates and other young people across Africa, good evening. Good evening once more. Allow me to take this opportunity first to appreciate the kind gesture forwarded to us by His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga of accepting our invitation to be part of the Pan-African Youth Convention. That is where you're supposed to clap. Baba, we know you have quite a tight schedule, considering also and putting into perspective your recent campaigns towards being the chairperson of the African Union Commission. So we really know that we have a special place in your heart, that you have spared time to come and have a conversation with the young people of Africa. We really appreciate and welcome you. Today marks the culmination of a 3-day convention that has been put together by Youth Bridge Kenya, bringing young people from across African countries, brought together under the theme of harnessing the demographic dividend of Africa, the youth inclusion factor. In these 3 days, we have had very insightful, solid, robust, interactive, and informative conversations that I believe, if put together in a declaration, is going to shape not only the present, but the future of Africa. By the same token, Your Excellency, allow me to share just a few statistics that we have been looking at in as far as our thematic area is concerned. That today, Africa's employment rate stands at an estimated 7% this year, with youth unemployment rate in most sub-Saharan countries estimated to be above 40%. This further has been exacerbated by a mismatch between the young population and available opportunities. Each year, about 10 to 12 million people enter the labor market, while only about 3 million formal jobs are created, according to the World Bank. 40% of the people who join rebel movements are actually motivated by unemployment, and we have several sources that direct us into this particular research. This, therefore, is a cause of concern given the burgeoning youth population between the ages of 15 to 24 across Africa. Secondly, Your Excellency, allow me also to share a report by Mo Ibrahim Foundation, that is an authority in governance across Africa. And his report estimates that 40% of African youth consider current living situation to be very bad or fairly bad. Lack of income is the most prevalent form of deprivation facing them, with a substantial fraction dead broke without a dime many times, and unsurprisingly, this has also security consequences. Your Excellency, education, which is one of our thematic areas, and we have discussed and come up with quite solid resolutions. It is said by several reports that Africa's education standards keep on deepening by each day. The 2018 Mo Ibrahim Index of African Governance reports that half of the continent registered a deterioration in education subcategory between 2013 and 2017. This is an area that you are quite passionate about, especially the linkages between the skills, the training, and expertise towards offering employment for our young people across the continent. On the elephant in the room, Your Excellency, democracy and governance, the African young people think that current governments are unresponsive to their needs and seemingly without any concrete plans and programs to harness the dividends of the youth bulge. The Ibrahim Foundation report found that 60% of Africans, and especially youth, think that their governments are doing a very bad or fairly bad job in addressing the needs of the young people. Across the continent and in our interactions in the convention, when someone from Togo shares their own experience in as far as governance and democracy is concerned, you'd find that there is some similarity with that other person from Nigeria or South Africa or from Lesotho or from South Sudan. And that is the position of the young people. They feel that they are disenfranchised, they are left out, and they are not included in governance and politics. Lastly, Your Excellency, before I take my seat, it is not lost on me that in the last 3 weeks, we have lost 41 young souls in our country who have died because of the brutality of the police. And basically they were out there exercising their right, petitioning the government and demonstrating. It is also not lost on me, by the same token, that the United Nations Refugee Commission estimates that 5,000 young people die either in the Sahara or in the Mediterranean trying to cross into Europe to look for opportunities. Closer home, every single day when we log in our social media sites, there are gory images and videos of our young sisters in the Gulf and in Arabia and such countries who have been dragged there because of servitude, and they are really undergoing very deplorable conditions as they try to earn a living. This continent continues to lose so many young lives in wars in Sudan, in Somalia, in DRC, in Mali, in Burkina Faso, among other countries. Allow me, with all respect, to request Your Excellency and all the delegates herein to stand up and observe a moment of silence for all the young souls that we have lost, not just in Kenya, but across the continent of Africa. Thank you. Your Excellency, this is a constellation of young people who have had transformative programs in their countries and in their communities. They have shaped public policy, they are in leadership, and they are very keen to ensure that we pursue the dream of the Africa we want, the way it was envisioned by the founding fathers of this continent. The delegates that I've interacted with, all of us shy away from the very real challenges of Africa. They are optimistic, they are solid, and they are fervent with a fire burning in their belly to cause progressive change in their nations and across the continent. Indeed, they are honest about what needs to be done and what their role has to be to achieve this. And they are overwhelmingly keen to stand out to be counted and make that difference. If and when plugged into the African Agenda 2063, that you are very passionate about, such leaders of this generation, like the ones who are seated in this room, cutting across all spheres of human interest, not just politics, but also business, entrepreneurship, technology, innovation, and invention, can ultimately deliver over the vision of having a peaceful, cohesive, prosperous, and united Africa. Your Excellency, the way you told me at some point that the only difference between the young and the old is that the old at one point they were young, but the young people have never been old. And therefore we accept that we are young and also take advantage to sip the wisdom of the old, because we cannot run away from the fact that we do not have experience. And such a convention brings that particular platform whereby young people can sip the wisdom of leaders who have already proven themselves, the way it was elucidated here clearly by His Excellency President Olusegun Obasanjo of the African Leadership Forum. And that's what we are looking at, that even when you get into the AU, that would have a platform where aspiring or rising stars across Africa can have a platform to nurture their skills, they can have a platform to grow their leadership skills, and they can be mentored into becoming leaders that can be impactful and transformative. Allow me at this juncture to invite the chairman, Your Excellency, of the planning committee of this convention, Wayne Hamilton. Wayne Hamilton, kindly, to just make a brief comment. Thank you. Kindly let's give a round of applause to Wayne Hamilton as he comes. Your Excellency, Wayne Hamilton has been with us all the time of the when we started preparing for the convention, And he has been here in KSG for 1 week, just trying to ensure that we get it right. And we also believe that the voice of the diaspora is very critical to the development of Africa. Wayne.
Thank you, Alex, for that opportunity to talk. I just want to be brief to say, Your Excellency, I'm proud to be here in Kenya. I come from Nova Scotia in Canada. And the conversations that I've had with Alex over the months was all about trying to have a forum that allows young adults who are here on the continent to have a space to talk. And I can tell you that back in Nova Scotia, where I am, the same situation is there for youth trying to find their voice. And so I'm really honored to be here. And I'm learning a lot, and I think that there's an opportunity for the Youth Bridge and my organization, Connecting to Africa, to find some commonalities. So thank you for inviting me.
Wayne is actually very, very brief, but his work speaks for itself. Allow me, Your Excellency, at this point, to invite the chairperson of the Youth Bridge Kenya Board to make short remarks. The Honorable Caleb Amisi.
Thank you very much, Alex Matere, and good evening, everyone. You are so silent, or you are consuming wisdom. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Raila Molo Odinga. Thank you, the Director of Kenya School of Government, together with the organizers led by Matere and the team, Okango, my friend, and all the delegates. Amujambo. Yeah, I think I was here. I don't want to talk so much. I was here on Tuesday. We debated on a number of issues. I know I have some unfinished assignment with you. I don't think there is much time we have for that assignment, but I know we are going to interact with most of you, especially those who are Kenyan, and those who come from other countries. We will find a forum in which we can share more. I think this should not end here. Mine is just to take the opportunity to welcome the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, and our Baba of the nation, and of course the Director of the Kenya School of Government, to share with you some wisdom as we continue to interact in this evening. But just before I do that, during my interaction with you on Tuesday, I did mention that there is a very thin line between the youth population bulge, the youth unemployment, and the economic status of a nation. And of course, we delved into these matters a lot. I don't think this is a conversation that can be finished in one sitting like this one. That's why I believe from here, we need to find and design ways of engaging more, whether it is from Kenya, whether we are visiting Togo next time, and we continue the conversation from there. We need to move across Africa. And from where you are, please spread the gospel. Invite us. I'll be very available to come from where I sit, and also our members who believe in this cause. There is a book written, I think, by Asemoglu, Why Nations Fail. Those who have come across that book. There is a town in south of America. One part of the town is called Arizona. The other part is called Sonora. If you go to that sector, the Sonora falls in Mexico. Arizona falls in America, USA. They are separated by just a fence. And you will see the living condition of Arizona and Sonora, that are like day and night. Why? Because in Arizona, the living conditions is high life expectancy. Education is free. There is free or affordable health care. Infrastructure is well taken care of. Water, electricity is in plenty. a town separated by only a fence. On the other side of the fence, Sonora, that falls in Mexico, it is completely opposite. Everything is deplorable. Infrastructure, from water, and you can imagine they are separated by a fence. So you look, the writer of this book looked at why that a town where one sector is separated by only a fence, people are living completely different life from the other one. Then he discovered that in Arizona, the government put in clear institutional framework, bureaucratic institutions. There is no theft of public funds. There is democratic institutions that take care of leadership succession. There is clear institutions that manages resources without corruption. And on the other side, everything I've said is there. And I think that is the problem of Africa in a nutshell. And once we solve the institutions, the bureaucratic institutions of our various countries, we look at resource mobilization, economic participation. Once we get the resources, how do we utilize? When we ever address that issue of institutional framework to avoid plunder of national resources, and the clear institutions and bureaucratic institutions that will make sure that education is free, water is provided, electricity is provided, healthcare is affordable or available, that is the time I believe we'll have solved a half of the problem of the youth population bulge and unemployment. I want to take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to invite the host, a person who has been kind enough to give us these premises, the Director General of the Kenya School of Government. Welcome. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa. His Excellency, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, we call him Baba in Kenya, the only one. Honorable Caleb Amisi, Kenya School of Government Council member, Mr. Ezekiel Owor, ED, and other invited guests, great people, good evening. Jambo. Your Excellency, today indeed is a great day for Kenya School of Government fraternity. Indeed, we are privileged to have you around this evening, Your Excellency. Let me from the beginning say that Baba was once a student in this school when it was Kenya Institute of Administration in 1970s. And in fact, we are privileged to have him here today because he attended one of our very senior program called Senior Management Course number 50 in 1970. I promised him that I will get a photo of him and the team then, so that then we place him somewhere when next year he will be announced as the chair of African Union Commission. Then Baba will come back and launch Africa School of Government, which will be the Kenya School of Government becoming Africa School of Government. Remember, that is what I promised you. Your Excellency, that is a promise from Kenya School of Government to you because since you will, by grace, God, graciously, you will become a chair of Africa Union Commission. Your Excellency, in your honor, Kenya School of Government at that time then will envisage to become the Africa School of Government so that then from where we are, under able leadership of our council members and ourselves here, will then drive the Africa Agenda 2063 and realize your dream, because the Africa we want, Your Excellency, is your dream. Because in 1970s, His Excellency Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga also started in Kenya the conference called the Kenya We Want. Your Excellency, if you remember, those are the good old days where then we reflect on the kind of the Kenya that we want, including the inclusive Kenya, where then the youth are also felt and appreciated and recognized. And that is basically what today our young leaders are asking. Your Excellency, basically what our young leaders today in Kenya are asking, they are asking only for a very simple thing: accountability. Accountability for our action, accountability for the resources that was or is allocated to the institution. It's as simple as that. If you then showcase the results for the resources allocated to you, then it's as good as done. And then taking into account these young leaders. Your Excellency, every year, Kenya School of Government receives from Public Service Commission a group called interns. And these are a group of brilliant young leaders in their various areas of specialization. Every year I keep on challenging them that if you are in ICT, for example, please give us one innovative idea in Kenya School of Government. And let me say here, Your Excellency, that they have done such a marvelous job in Kenya School of Government, because for the period they are here for 1 year, quite a number of them who are especially in ICTs, they came up with quite a number of innovative ideas, and some of them we've absorbed them and they are here. And some of them, for the next 6 months, 3, 4 of them, Your Excellency, will be in my office to support my agenda, because they have such a great idea. And those are the kind of leadership that we want to offer. Your Excellency, the whole bit of challenges that today we are facing is what you said many years back, and I quote what you said, that what has happened in the past is a lot of good policies that have been developed on paper, but you find that they are not implemented. So there is a disconnect between rhetoric and practice, and that is what His Excellency, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga said many years back, and that is exactly what is happening today. The disconnect is between the practice and the rhetoric. What we are saying is that we have policies, but they're on the paper. What our Gen Zs are asking is that implement those policies so that then they affect them positively, because what they're asking for essentially is all about the accountability, and for sure that is basically what we are looking for. To Your Excellency, at the Kenya School of Government, we appreciate them, we celebrate them, we work with them, and as a result, we are in the process of setting up a youth empowerment, coaching, mentorship, leadership center in one of our campus, so that then we build their capacity. If there is an excuse of they don't have an experience, then in that center, we want to develop that capacity so that as they exit that academy, that experience is given unto them, so that then nobody has an excuse to say that you don't have an experience. Because where else can these people get experience? So we must build their capacity so that if it is a public service, we'll make sure in that empowerment center, which Your Excellency, as soon as you take over, you will come and officially open, then we will give them that, what is required for them to be such great leaders, because they have capacity, they have capability, they have passion, they have drive, they have confidence, all those that is required of delivering the transformation in the public sector. They have all that, but the only thing is the experience, which we at the Kenya School of Government, Your Excellency, we are going to set up that center so that then nobody will have an excuse in future to say that they don't have experience. With that, I want to say that we are also setting up IGAD Young Leaders Academy, also in one of our campuses in Mombasa, so that then our young leaders from all over Africa then will also be trained in that center, and they come, they share experience, they learn from each other, they coach, they mentor each other, so that then you grow together and become such a powerful, high-level, transformative, high-voltage leaders that is required of then young leaders, so that then you positively, in a very transformative manner, contribute to the transformation of not only our institution, but also the country, and by extension the Africa, and realize the Africa that we want under the Africa Agenda 2063. Baba, I want to confirm to you that as soon as you take over, we will work together as Kenya School of Government to make sure that your dream, your vision will be realized through this wonderful institution called Kenya School of Government. Baba, that is our commitment to you today. For and on behalf of these wonderful leaders here, we want to commit this institution to making sure that you realize that dream that you have for Africa. For you have really done a lot for us. You continue doing the same, and I'm sure as you get to the other side now, leading the Africa, then you'll continue doing more for that. And we, Kenyans, at that moment, then we stand and say that we are proud to be part of the Baba's agenda, and for sure we'll realize that. With those many, and he has a lot of other engagement, I will not be able to introduce, nobody can dare introduce Baba, because the moment you start that journey, you'll never finish it. Because, you know, Baba has a very long history, a lot of transformation, a lot of, you know, so many things that he did for us. I don't want to go into that, but you know that next year he will be the African Union Commission chairperson, that for sure, and God willing, and some of us, we know that he will be there. So therefore then, I request all of us to be upstanding, so that then we now welcome Baba Namakofi Lea Nyayo, because he was also there. So, moja, mbili, Baba karibu, karibu sana, nakushukuru. Thank you so much, Baba. Thank you.
Haya. Thank you. You may be seated. Vijana hamjambo. Hamjambo tena. Thank you. Asanteni sana. The leadership of a Youth Bridge Kenya, the director of this institution, Kenya School of Government, visitors who have come from other countries, other parts of the continent of Africa, and Kenyans who are here, comrades. I am very delighted to have opportunity to be here this afternoon. I'm accompanied here with a friend who is also a staunch member of Azimio La Umoja One Kenya Coalition, Mr. Francis Mwangi. Yeah. We call it Mwangi wa Azimio. Yeah. Yes. Now, I'm very grateful to have opportunity to come and meet with the young people. When I see the youth, I see the future. The youth represent the future. And that's why a country cannot grow without growing the youth. As you have been told, I say that the difference between the old and the youth is that the old have at one time been the youth, but the youth have never been old. So they don't know what it means to be old, but the old know what it means to be the youth. So today, you are a young, you used to be called young tax. Today you are old tax. Tomorrow you are also going to be old. So what is important is what you do with your youth when it's still there. But you cannot actually transform your youth unless the society gives you opportunity to do so. I'm happy that my old friend, the General, Oga, Papa, was here yesterday. I am actually a graduate of African Leadership Forum, which is the institution that he started to mentor the African youth. So you are mentored properly. He took us to his institution and he spent initially 1 week interacting with then retired presidents, the late Kenneth Kaunda, General Toumani Touré, who had been the president of Mali twice, and late President Buyoya of Burundi. And they mentored us how the challenges that you face if you are in a position of leadership. You should have asked the general when he was here yesterday, who is the God? You have told him God is a Nigerian. God is a Nigerian. And did you know why? You ask them, Nigeria had a very nasty experience in independence. But one time, one of the worst periods in Nigerian history was when somebody called General Abacha took power in Nigeria. This Abacha was a very bloody person. He killed so many people that was actually nicknamed the Butcher of Abuja. The Butcher of Abuja. Then they say that one evening, Nigerians went to sleep hoping that tomorrow that they would wake up again to one of those bloody days. But they had prayed. But in the morning when they woke up, they found that God had actually gone to Asorok. Asorok is the state house in Ghana. And he invited Mr. Abacha to go and be his guest permanently in heaven. So they say God is a Nigerian. It had the prayers of the Nigerian people. Okay? I'm also accompanied here by my daughter, Winnie, who is, I don't know where she is. She stepped out. She stepped out. Somewhere, I'm told that she is a millennium. Millennial, she's not a Gen Z. But let me begin now by expressing my deep appreciation of the Pan-African Youth Convention and our hosts, Youth Bridge Kenya, for the invitation to this great event. I find meetings like this very inspiring, as they provide perfect opportunities to meet with young people and to hear directly from them. I see this as an opportunity to get new ideas. More importantly, meetings like this indicate the extent to which young people are rising up to carve their space and summon us to their event, so that we can share ideas and the possibilities of Africa's tomorrow. It used to be the other way around. In Africa's fast fading old days, it was us, not the youth, the parents, to summon the children. But roles are reversing, and we have no option but to comply. There could not be a better time for Africa, and Kenya in particular, to be talking about the youth and their views and the role in our society. Let me state from the outset that I have always been, and I remain, a firm believer in the potential and power of the young people to shape the future of Africa. I know firsthand that many of the great developments that have been achieved in Africa, including here in Kenya, were pushed and forced by the young people. Without fear of doubt or doubts, I can state categorically that I am honored to have been a key player in the youth movements that transformed Kenya into a democracy and open society of sorts in my years of youth. By age, Africa is an extremely young continent. Today, around 60% of Africa's 1.5 billion people is younger than 25 years. More than a third of Africa's total population is between 15 and 34 years old. It is therefore obvious that the solution to some of the greatest challenges facing our continent lies with the youth. The youth live with those challenges, and they are expected to resolve those challenges as we move forward. So I've said that the youth is a potential. If you empower them, if you don't empower them, they become delinquents, drug addicts, thieves, and criminals. But if you empower them with the knowledge, access to knowledge, and access to opportunities, then they become a very powerful force for wealth creation in a society. But the youth will not be able to provide solutions to our problems unless they are empowered. As a leader, I remain deeply committed towards seeing a continent that provides opportunities for our young people. I'm committed to ensuring that the youth are change agents today as they make their way to being leaders of the continent. To this end, I believe we have the responsibility of ensuring that our boys and girls get equal access to education, that we give them skills to strengthen their leadership in every aspect of society, including business, academia, civil society, and politics. I believe that Africa has the responsibility of providing our young entrepreneurs and would-be entrepreneurs with the capital and networks to grow businesses and pursue innovations. In other words, we have a responsibility to help the youth help themselves and our continent. We are currently in the era of pursuing Africa's renaissance. The term renaissance itself evokes a rebirth, a renewal of spirit, and a resurgence of greatness. This is precisely what Africa needs in the 21st century. No segment of any population represents the rebirth and renewal of spirit better than the youth. In their hands lies the power to transform challenges into opportunities, to harness innovation for sustainable development, and to drive social change that benefits all Africans. The African Renaissance we envisage is not merely an economic or political ambition. It must also be a cultural and intellectual awakening. It calls for a reclamation of our heritage, a celebration of our diversity, and a commitment to unity amidst our differences. As leaders and stakeholders, we have a responsibility and duty to listen to the voices of our youth, empower their aspirations, and provide them with the platform they need to contribute meaningfully to our shared future. Their energy, idealism, and determination are the driving forces behind the resurgence of Africa on the global stage. We have a duty to harness this potential, nurture their talent, and jointly embark on a journey towards an African Renaissance that leaves no one behind. But our young people must not just rely on their adults to help them deliver Africa's future for their dreams. Our young people must learn to work together, learn from one another, avoid the divisions of the past, and be the change they wish to see on the continent. As young people, there's a very solid foundation and tradition to build on. The foundation and tradition are the joint efforts and sacrifices of older generations of Africa's founders who led our continent to independence, which did not come easy. We got where we are today by working together and imagining a future. They may have fell short of their own aspirations, but they did lay a firm foundation on which you can build new plans for a perfect continent. You have come of age in an era of breathtaking change. You have come of age in the age of technology and an interconnected world. Today, the world has become a global village. When I was living in Europe, a letter, it's called surface mail, would take 3 weeks to arrive. Then came the email, the airmail. It would take 1 week to arrive. Then came the express airmail, 3 days. And you are very surprised, you are very happy that it has only 3 days. Then came the telex, and then came the fax machine, and then came the mobile phone, analog, and then now here, today we are. The world has become truly a global village, just within a very short period of time, in my lifetime. So these are fundamental changes that have taken place. I encourage you to resist attempts to isolate the continent in a globalizing world. I encourage you to ignore the notion that the world is controlled by forces that you can't overcome and control. I encourage you to immerse yourself into this world with a view to taking complete control of it for the sake of Africa. You must take a longer and more optimistic view of the world, guided by our resilience as African people. Africa is the richest continent on the surface of the earth in terms of resources. Yet it is a paradox that the richest continent is also the poorest in terms of the living conditions of its people. But this is a situation that we can change. It is possible to change this situation. I have had an opportunity to work for the continent as the African Union High Representative on Infrastructure Development. It gave me a first-hand opportunity to understand our continent, its peoples, and its challenges. There we were dealing with major infrastructural projects which have been conceived by the African Union. The highways, trans-African highways, Cape Town to Cairo. That project was coined by a white South African, Sir Cecil Rhodes, over 100 years ago, to build a highway from the Cape Town to Cairo. Up to today, that highway has not been built. There's still missing links to it. Another one is from Tripoli to the Cape, which is also there. There are several missing links which has not been completed. Another one is from Dakar in Senegal through the Sahel to Djibouti. Another one is Dakar to Lagos, Lagos to Mombasa, which has also not been constructed. Then you have got Trans-African high-speed railway network. One from Beira in Mozambique all the way to Walvis Bay in Namibia. The other one is from Lagos along the coast to Cotonou in Benin, to Lomé in Togo, Accra in Ghana, to Abidjan in Cote d'Ivoire, all along to Guinea, to Mauritania, to Morocco, to Algeria, to Libya, Tunisia, up to Cairo. And then another one, which we had coined from here, LAPSET, Lamu Port, South Sudan, Ethiopia Transport Corridor. But then as AU, we modified. To go Lamu, one branch will go to Ethiopia, the other one to Juba, and then to Bangui in Central African Republic, then to Cameroon port of Kribi, to create a land bridge that links the Atlantic Ocean to Indian Ocean, and then opening up the interior, the landlocked countries in Africa for trade. The labor goods coming from the east, from Japan, from China, from India, from the Middle East, to come to Lamu, and then by train transported across to those countries like South Sudan, North Sudan, Chad, Niger, Congo-Brazzaville, up to Nigeria. Because the African Union had come up with African Free Trade Area agreement. But how does Africa trade with itself without a proper infrastructure? Here you're in Kenya. Between Kenya and a country called Central African Republic, there's only South Sudan. But how do you get your goods to Central African Republic? How do you get your tea from Kenya to Central African Republic where they don't grow tea? You have to find a ship that will go down Cape Coast and go up along the coast, Namibia, Angola, up to Cameroon, and then pick it from Douala by road to Bangui in Central African Republic. The French and the British are much faster there than you. That's why in Bangui, in Central African Republic, they drink Kenyan tea, Christian as English breakfast tea. But if you do the proper infrastructure, you can reach there. Only South Sudan is between you and Central African Republic. There are several others who are dealing with high speed fiber optic network that will link several African capitals so that communication is easier. We're dealing with open skies, how to make the air transport easier across the continent of Africa. At the moment, air transport is so expensive in our continent. Why? Because they don't have a proper air control system. Each country has got its own individual air traffic control system. So if you want to fly from here, you have to pay overflight fees to several countries you're going to go across. From here to Lagos, so many countries. Yeah, the other day I was going for a funeral of a president of Namibia, and we chartered an aircraft to drive Nairobi to Windhoek, Namibia. You have to get clearance from Tanzania, from DRC, from Zambia, from Botswana, and Namibia. We were spending 3 hours on the ground at Wilson Airport because we did not have clearance to fly over Tanzania. At that time, I was stranded in Dar es Salaam trying to get to Niamey in Niger. Yeah, because you have to get a clearance over Uganda, DRC, Central African Republic, Cameroon, Nigeria, Niger. You don't need those kind of things in Europe. Because they have got one standardized air control system that gives you clearance and you can fly over all those countries in Europe. And it is cheaper. These are some of the things which can be changed, and we are dealing with this. Then we are dealing with energy. Energy is so expensive on the continent of Africa. You go to a place like the Gambia, it costs you 38 US cents per unit. In some other places in Europe, it is 2 cents. How can you compete with those who are producing energy at 2 cents, yet you here are buying it at 38 cents? Yet Africa has got abundance of energy source, particularly what you can call green energy. The solar, the wind, the waves, the geothermal, the hydro, all available in abundance on our continent. How do we make use of it to reduce the cost of energy so that it's accessible to most of our people who live in rural areas and be able to create industries in rural areas? Those are the challenge, some of the challenges that we're dealing with. We're dealing with other issues of trade, to remove non-tariff barriers that are there, be put artificially by states that make it more difficult to trade across the continent. These are some of the challenges that we have on our continent. But Africa has a future because we have a youth, and we need to reap the youth dividends. Today, African youth are dying on the ships, trying to reach greener pastures in Europe. The people are escaping poverty from Africa. We must reverse this trend by creating more opportunities in the continent, so that our people do not have to flee from their own homes looking for opportunities which are not available here. Make those opportunities available on the continent of Africa. On the issue of climate change, Africa is a victim. Africa is a victim of actions which have been taken elsewhere. The emitters of carbon monoxide that is creating global warming are elsewhere. Africa is a victim. But Africa, first, we cannot just stand here and say we are a victim and we are doing nothing. We need to do something ourselves. But secondly, we must now also negotiate much more firmly with these offenders so we get proper compensation for actions which have been taken outside our continent. You can see today Africa is suffering from floods and droughts, alternating. Floods this year, recently floods in Kenya, drought in southern Africa. When it becomes flood there, it's drought here in Kenya. Africa is suffering. And there's also desertification, which is coming. The Sahara is spreading south. How do you stem this tide? We need to stem this tide. And these are the reasons why I've offered myself to go and become the chair of African Union. That we can, I think that I can be like a catalyst to create a new thinking within the African Union so that we can be able to exploit the potential that we have really in this continent and really realize the dreams of the founding fathers of our continent. Dreams of Osagie Kwame Nkrumah, Gamal Abdel Nasser, Ahmed Sékou Touré, Modibo Keïta, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, Nelson Mandela, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, Ahmed Ben Bella. I can mention them. These were people who had foresight, who wanted Africa to be united. Kwame Nkrumah said, Africa continental government now, today. 61 years later, we are still where they started. We have nationalities around, but we need to create that African personality, that are real African. Africa has been exploited over the years. Relics of exploitation are there. But we should not sit and continue to be just lamenting. But we cannot also forget the injustices which have been made against our people in the past. And therefore, the day of reparation, the subject of reparation cannot be wished away. It must remain a subject on the table as we move forward. But let us also create our own wealth in this continent. So I conclude by telling you the story of the African lion. There are several lions on the continent. If you go to Cameroon, they call it in the indomitable lions. You go to Senegal, they call them the lions of Teranga. You go to Morocco, they call them Atlas lions. And you come to Kenya here, the Simba, ya Kenya. So this is the African lion. The African lion is sending a message to the Asian tiger. And the message is clear. That you, Asian tiger, you have danced on the stage for far too long alone, unchallenged. The European bear retreated many years into the ice of the North Pole. The American panther is also on the retreat. So you've been there alone. I, as African lion, have been asleep in the jungles of the Congo, bounded by the peaks, Mount Kilimanjaro to the east, and Atlas Mountains to the west, bounded by the mighty rivers of the Gambia, of the Niger, of the Limpopo, the Nile, and the mighty Congo. And I'm here in the African forests. Here I'm sitting on African gold, African bauxite, African iron ore, African diamonds, African uranium and lithium, all this wealth around me. I'm going to use my brain to transform all this wealth around me into opportunity for my people. And to claim the 21st century as truly African century. I thank you. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, you always amaze me with, not with the written speech, you always amaze me with your off-the-cuff speech. And I've watched you carefully. Sometimes I used to think that you have it on a note somewhere, but every time, even when we're in the field somewhere, you still manage to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, for people our age, That's a great feat. You can bear with me. Your Excellency, I will request that just for the next few minutes you indulge us. I think, do we have anybody who would like to ask a question? Okay, students. All right. So I'll come round. I will only allow 3 people. And because I'm gender sensitive, it will be the ladies, 2 ladies and a man. All right? Make it short and relevant and factual. What are our rules? Short, relevant, and factual. All right? So let's do this. I'll choose 1, 1, 1. All right, you're about to fly out of the seat. Let me come to you. All right? So make it short, relevant, and factual. Tell us your name, where you're from. Yes, please. And maybe I'll listen to your question before you ask so that we don't get ourselves here with... oh, you have notes? All right. So what is it about? I'm serious. Good. This is short, relevant, and factual. Please.
Thank you so much. Baba, Honorable Raila Odinga, and all distinguished leaders present. How are you? My name is Sofina Merino, a consultant on youth and leadership in Africa. Now, one thing for sure, we cannot downplay the significant role mentorship plays in leadership development. And with the strides that we have started to make on accountability and championing for social justice, what can you advise from your experience to passionate individuals on the continent to ensure that we achieve success in achieving democracy, social justice, and have control of our continent? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I also want to give a chance to those who are visiting with us from out of this country. Wakenya unajua mnapambana sana. Anguka nayo. Where are you from? All right, please.
Thank you so much. Honorable, they call me chairperson of Africa Union. My name is Eva Gerard from Tanzania. I'm a chairperson, also founder and CEO of Tanzania Women and Youth Advisory Organization. My question is, as a coming Africa Union chairman, what a plan do you have to the young people of Africa continent? Thank you.
All right, and here we say 2 ladies, so I need a man, a gentleman. Are you gentle? All right. Okay. Short, relevant, and senior. All right.
Hello, everyone. Prime Minister, my question is very simple. We've had countless number of youth. Okay, my name is George Ngaira. I'm a businessman and also youthful and gentle, as you say. Honorable Prime Minister, my question is very simple and clear. We've had dozens of these youth organizations and conferences talking about youths, and we've always had policies that have been passed. As the incoming leader of a continental organization like the African Union, what mechanisms are you going to put in place to see to it that the implementation of all this program is done within a timed structure?
Thank you very much. As His Excellency prepares to take the questions and give us answers, I'll shortly be calling a few people to receive some awards. As I call you, you'll just come to the front, you'll receive your award, we'll take a picture, and you'll go back to the seat. Immediately after, the DG, KSG, has organized for us a cocktail right outside there. We shall have it, and then all of us shall go down to have our meal tonight. Baba, if you're ready, I'm ready.
Thank you. Sophie, democracy, social justice, and accountability. What you call good governance in the continent of Africa. As you know, there are challenges. Africa is not uniform. There are countries which are much advanced at different stages. There are those which are still emerging. The others which are still under dictatorships and even military rule, as you know. So it is not a uniform thing, but you know that AU had passed a resolution to silence the guns by 2020. That was basically just a wishful thinking. Because you know, guns are still very much allowed. You go to the Sudan, you go to Somalia, you go to many places, guns are still very much there. What we want to do is first to ensure that these conflicts which are within the continent are resolved. There is a fund called the African Peace Fund, but not much has been put into that fund. When I go there, I want to ensure that that Peace Fund is increased, and that we have also a standing force that will help to enforce peace within the continent. Secondly, of course, we have a standard of good governance. And this standard, just like the European Union, first does what they call due diligence for a country to qualify to become a member of the European Union. This is something that needs to be done, even within Africa, so that we have a common standard that all these countries are aspiring to achieve, so that there is what you call freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and also there's social justice within these countries, and to deal with issues of accountability. Because without this being there can be no development. You can have all the good plans, but if you don't have a proper institutions and proper structures within the country, there will be a problem. There is what you would call, there is a reform committee which has been set up. This and here, I think I'm going to deal with let me deal with the second question of Eva. The EU plan to raise the youth. I've already talked generally about the potential of the youth in the continent. And I've said that we need to empower the youth by first imparting knowledge and technology on the youth, so that the youth are properly empowered to be able to realize their potential. Now, there are different governments have got different programs, so they want to agree on a template that's continental wide, and we will be doing peer review of these African countries to ensure that they conform to the minimum standards that have been set by the African Union. Finally, George, on the implementation of policies. First, you need to know that currently there is a disconnect between the Secretariat and the Union, because a lot of resolutions which are passed by the summit of heads of states are not implemented. I was talking to the current chairman, who is actually complaining that majority of resolutions passed by the heads of state never see the light of the day. They're never implemented. I want to, right now there is a committee on reform of the AU. This committee has been chaired by President Kagame of Rwanda. But now this chair has actually passed on to Kenya, the Kenyan president. I believe that this committee will come up with the proper reforms that will ensure that African Union structure is brought almost in conformity with that of the European Union. And that will make it much easier to ensure that resolutions that are passed by various organs of AU actually are implemented fully. This is what I intend to do. And that will make AU a much more efficient and effective institution. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We are grateful. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, my name is Ambassador Thomas Kwaka Omolo, also known as Big Ted. I'm the immediate former Consul General for Kenya in Los Angeles. I just got home a few days ago, in case the accent confuses you. In case it confuses you, anguka na. Although Kenyans move on so fast, we haven't even learned how to go there properly. You guys already have brought something else, you know? And I'm sure this one will go that way. But that's Kenya for you, and that's Africa for you. Bright, brilliant, healthy, live, you know, just bubbling and blowing up on the Sims. Africa, let us tell our story. Remember what Chinua Achebe said, that until the lion learns how to write, all the stories of the hunt will only glorify the hunter. Understand that all the stories you've read, all the books you read in school, were written by the hunter. That is why we must write our stories. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to start today by honoring a few individuals who have been shining lights and who we shall continue leaning on.
The Climax 5-Star Awards conferment event that is part of the African Youth Convention. Award winners in each category were selected through a comprehensive and credible process which involved nominations from the public, research-driven verification of nominations, and ultimately considerations by a specially appointed awards jury. So the first category is the Young Exceptional African Awards. So this is a distinguished awards category that will celebrate the achievements of young exceptional individuals across youth leaders at grassroots, community, national, and regional levels, and will honor their significant contributions to the continent's development. So the Young Exceptional Awards is a testament to the exemplary standards and achievements within the diverse African landscape. This award targets a wide array of areas ranging from social activists, human rights, as well as human rights promoters and defenders, as well as civil society leaders, innovators, entrepreneurs, and policymakers, among others. Through these awards, the African continent recognizes efforts by her young generation in steering sustainable development, good governance, and show dedication to Africa's political and socio-economic advancement, as well as the resilience and adaptability in the face of global challenges. The next award will be on the Young Outstanding African Awards. So this award will recognize and celebrate African young leaders who, under challenging circumstances, have made use of the public offices they occupy to cause transformation and usher in shared prosperity and sustainable development. The focus of this award is to highlight outstanding contributions in public service and develop a network of peer role models across the continent for the youth of Africa. The award also aims at encouraging and promoting professionalism diligence, integrity, and selflessness in political and socio-economic activities around the continent with a view to supporting wider efforts to make Africa a better place for this generation and the ones to come. And the third category is the Iconic Youth Champion Awards. So the Iconic Youth Champion Awards recognizes and honors the efforts of eminent personalities in and across the continent who have played a leading role in championing and advancing the meaningful participation and inclusion of the youth in leadership, governance, and sustainable development. This award will honor outstanding individuals who have made remarkable contributions through exceptional leadership and unwavering commitment to the advancement of Africa. So through their exceptional service, they are an inspiration to the young generation across the continent. This award will ensure that the African continent continues to benefit from the experience and wisdom of exceptional and visionary leaders in Africa. Over to you, Ted.
Thank you very much. And with that, let me please request our guest of honor, Your Excellency, to please come to the front of the podium, accompanied by the DG and the team at the front, for us to present the nominees. Your Excellency, I please request that you please join us at the front of the podium. Now, do you guys promise to clap for the winners? All right, if you clap, we shall make it 10 minutes. If you don't clap, we'll make it 1 hour. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for the Pan-African Youth Outstanding Awards, our first nominee winner is Honorable Wesley Korir. Honorable Wesley Korir is the founder and president of the Kenya Kids Foundation, a foundation that offers full scholarships for students athletes. And he's also highly committed to nurturing young talent while also positioning education through the Transcend Talent Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Honorable Wesley Korir. He's also a great athlete, having won the LA Marathon, Chicago Marathon, Boston Marathon, and is a member of parliament for Cherangani constituency in Kenya. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Makofi, tafadhali. Can I take a photo? Our next winner, ladies and gentlemen, is Sake Kojo.
Mr. Sake Kojo is an educationist, a human rights advocate, a mass communication expert, a motivational speaker, and a leader skills acquisition practitioner. He is a co-founder of United Nations Youth Association of Ghana. He was also a delegate for the 40th Plenary Assembly of the World Federation of the United Nations Association, Rio de Janeiro, held in Brazil, which came out with proposal for post-sustainable development goals, Agenda 2030, and United Nations adoption subsequently. Please, let's put our hands together. Where is Mr. Sake Rajo? Woo! Let's take a photo op. Congratulations. Woo!
Our next winner nominee, Your Excellency, is Mr. Peter Quest. Peter Quest is the head of youth programs. He's the head of youth program at the Kenya School of Government. He has over 10 years experience on youth development and community service. He's a champion for the youths across the country in semi and arid areas. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, Mr. Peter Quest.
Let's put our hands together for him.
Simon TJ. I can bear witness. I've worked with him on a couple of programs. in the country, Mr. Peter Quest.
Thank you. So the next category is the Pan-African Youth Exceptional Awards. So Mr. Job Simon Kija, please make your way to the front. Please let's give him a round of applause. Job Simon Kija is Executive Director at Innovations for Democratic Engagement and Action IDEA. He's at the forefront of championing for democracy, human rights, good governance, and sustainable development. He successfully led citizen mobilization efforts on anti-corruption and accountability, such as the Black Monday movement against corruption in Uganda, the Citizens Manifesto process, among others. He further led robust research processes on governance that have translated into governance and policy reports. He's also an International Visitor Leadership Program fellow by the USA State Department. So let's put our hands together for him. Congratulations.
Our next nominee winner, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, is Mr. Garang Malong Awan. This is in recognition to his outstanding leadership in championing for restoration of peace, democracy, and sustainable development in the Republic of South Sudan. As the inaugural chair of the Consortium of Southern Sudanese Professionals working towards restoration of peace, he has exceptionally lived true to the Africa Vision 2063 that seeks to and can get youth to engage in informed, innovative, and value-driven approaches to foster personal community in Africa and beyond. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, Garang Malong Awan.
Let's clap for him.
Hold on. Relax.
So next awardee.
Thank you very much. Some of us will start dancing if you take it too loud. The next awardee, Your Excellency, I have the privilege of just doing a before Michelle does it. Your Excellency, this particular person, I know personally, is dedicated to the cause of Pan-Africanism and of youth in this country. I sit with him a lot of times. We've had lots of talks and meals, and I'm 100% sure that he deserves this award.
Thank you. Our next awardee is Alex Matere. Alex Matere is Executive Director of the Youth Reach Kenya. He is also a political scientist and public policy expert. He has previously served as the Secretary General of the Students' Organization of the University of Nairobi, SONI, chaired the University Students' Lobby, pushing for the adoption of the Kenya Constitution 2010, and later convened the Youth for BBI that championed for meaningful youthful inclusion in the constitutional reforms. Alex has also served in the task forces geared towards shaping youth policy, the Kenya Youth Development Policy Task Force, the National Skills Development Task Force, and the Kenya National Career Guidance Policy Task Force. Please let's give him a round of applause.
Our next winner, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, was born in Beachville, Nova Scotia, a small black community on the outskirts of Metro Halifax, and is the youngest of 6 siblings. He attended Dalhousie University and received a Bachelor of Arts in African Studies. For several years, he was the regional educator for Black Educators Association of Nova Scotia, and later the Student Services Consultant for the African Canadian Services. Wayne has spent more than 15 years working and living in Nigeria, Ghana, and Sierra Leone, and has traveled to many African countries. He's the lead facilitator for Connecting to Africa Society, a non-profit that seeks to increase awareness, advocacy, and action partnership with African Nova Scotian organization and like-minded people. His inspiration is Dr. Marie Hamilton, his mom, and anyone with a genuine passion to make a positive change in the community. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, please welcome Mr. Wayne Hamilton.
Lisiana Emma Core.
Yes, that's it.
So,
Hold on.
oh,
Let him-
oh, shit.
Trying to cause-
Okay. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, our next awardee is Lisiana Emakur. Please let's put our hands together for Miss Lisiana Emakur. She's the founder and executive director at the Center for Community Impact and Sustainability. She has built a multifaceted career that epitomizes the essence of youth empowerment, gender equality, and environmental sustainability. Her achievements have gained her the following awards: the Global Peace Chain Awards 2023, 4 Directions Diaspora Award, Best Female Advocate 2024, the UNODER Service of Excellency 2022, and the UNESCO Certificate of Appreciation 2022, among others. Please let's put our hands together.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, would like to award Mr. Bright Kwame Fiaga. Bright Kwame Fiaga is an entrepreneur and founding member of the Consumers League of Togo, LCT, an organization promoting, defending, and protecting consumer rights in Togo. Now, Bright assumes several responsibilities within his organization in his capacity as president. And he leads and participates in the life of Togolese civil society nationally and internationally on all subjects of general interest. At African level, he's heavily involved in action and awareness-raising activities within the African Union of Consumer Organizations, both on social networks and in field activities. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Bright Fagia.
Let's clap for him.
Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, our next awardee
is Professor Noura Mohammed. Professor Noura Mohammed is the Director General at the Kenya School of Government, where he is responsible for providing leadership and direction on long-term, medium-term, and day-to-day management of finance, information technology, human resource, and administration functions of the school. He's a public sector leadership and transformation expert with over 23 years of experience in public sector reforms, performance management, finance, audit, and planning. He possesses remarkable wealth of experience in providing strategic leadership in various reforms in government. Please let's put our hands together once again for Professor Noura Mohammed.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the next one is not an award, it's a special request. This young lady would like to take a picture with you. She is a leader in her field, and she is the leader of the innovation. She's a coordinator for programs at Strathmore University at the Innovations Hub. So all of you out there who are in tech, who are in innovation, who are in anything else, and you'd like some help, please, it will be a great opportunity for you to talk to her, because women can lead in tech, and women will lead in tech if you guys step up. I would like to request all the teams not from Kenya, and we need to make this organized. Any delegates who are not from Kenya? Let me see by a show of hands. I don't mean Rongai, I mean Kenya, not from Kenya. All right, if you're not from Kenya, please come to the front. All the delegates who are not from Kenya. Okay, the delegates not from Kenya, you'll come up on the stage. Come up on the stage. Excuse me, delegates not from Kenya. All the delegates come to the front and stand here. Come to the podium. Come on the podium. Those who are, yes, come up, come up. If you're not from, we have a space here at the back. Give me a minute. I need to make this neat so that the picture is not too tight. Do you want to go up? Go up. Just go up on the podium. Go up on the podium. Make it nice and sweet. All right? and beautiful. All right? All right. And all of you at the front who are in the picture say, Anguka nayo. All right. It means just fall with it. Just go with it. Yeah? All right. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, if you don't mind, you can just go back to your seat. The rest of you can stay here. We want to do something else with you. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a cocktail which has been hosted in your honor, courtesy by the DG, KSG. All right. All